let us start with now. Jason has previewed the on oddsmarket.com has previewed obviously the main event and also the co-main event. Very quickly, we can go into the co-main event. Now, really, I have spoken to you both individually, obviously off camera. And Valentina, she's defending her championship title, and really, there is no. This is one to watch. We're expecting a very sort of confident game from Valentina. Would anybody disagree with that, or have anything to add on the co-main event?
Go ahead.
No, I think it's Shevchenko all the way. Dave and I talked about it for like 20 minutes. How if there was a way to approach this fight from a betting perspective. And the only thing we thought of was inside the distance or the fight goes the distance. But it's so hard to tell with these two girls because, you know one of them is going to win in Valentina Shevchenko, but you just don't know how it's going to happen. So, we broke down the fight and didn't give a pick. But I lean that the fight goes the distance at plus 130, but I'm just not sure.
So no knockouts?
I don't think so. I don't know. It's a tough call because she could submit her, but I'm not sure. I'm really not sure.
Dave, I like a good knockout, I have to say. What about you, Dave? Do you think that the fight does go the distance, or will we see her, ending a bit early with knockout?
Yeah, like Jay said, we went back and forth on this the other day for quite a while, and it is a real tough one to call. Going the distance, I do like that, just because Jessica Eye, she hasn't been a pushover recently. She had a turnaround after going on a bit of a losing streak. She's managed to rack up 3 wins in a row, and they've all gone by decision. And then when we look at Valentina, she's also gone the decision in a few of her fights, and she has locked in a couple of submissions against Priscilla. She got a submission, and I think Juliana Pena, she locked in an armbar on her. But other than that, if you look at Valentina's record, she has also gone to the decision quite a few times. I think we can easily agree that Valentina will win because she has only lost to one girl in the UFC, and that's possibly the best fighter that we've seen in the female division. That's Amanda Nunes. So she should have this win in the bag easy. It's just how she's going to do it by decision is probably the most likely outcome in this one.
Yeah. Is that video over on your channel there, Jason, Sports Keg, on YouTube?
This Saturday, tomorrow night, we'll be on all night long.
No, the 20-minute breakdown. Cast. Sorry.
No, that was in our personal chat.
Oh, that was in personal chat. Okay. Well, but you guys will be live though during the fight, won't you, tomorrow?
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. All fight long. Dave's going to join me. It's going to be fun. We hit a 12-1 shot last week. I don't know if we're going to be able to do that again, but we'll be on.
Yeah. And what time will that be for you, Dave?
That'll be the AM. Well, probably it'll be about probably midnight. I'll probably go on till about 4-5 AM possibly.
Ooh, I'll be tucked up.
Yeah, the card starts at 6 o'clock Eastern time, and then goes until 1 AM basically.
Oof. All right. Now, okay, so let's move to the main fight. We've got Henry and Marlon Moraes set to battle it out. Starters on now. Jason obviously has broken this one down. Do you have any tips for this one, Dave? How are you expecting this fight to go? Is there a heavy favourite, a fighter that you like the look of?
Both fighters are awesome. Obviously, it's a title fight. They wouldn't be in the fight if they weren't. Henry is stepping up a weight again to try and take the bantamweight bout, and Marlon deservingly has earned this shot by beating everybody that they've put in front of him. The only person he did lose to was Rafael Assunção. And after he went on a winning streak after that, he quickly got that loss back in his previous fight, and he submitted him in the first round. So he proved to us that the loss that he took was a blip, and he deserves to be where he is. Henry Cejudo, He is already a champion in the division below. He's the flyweight champion. He's beat TJ Dillashaw. He's beat arguably pound for pound one of the best fighters I've ever seen, Demetrius Johnson. And he's Olympic gold medalist in wrestling. So it is another tough fight to break down. But I slightly favour Marlon, and I will be betting on Marlon as well to win. Not too much. Obviously, we keep the bankroll management tight. Probably a unit on Marlon. I think I got 1.91, which is about minus 110. I favour Marlon Moraes in this fight slightly. It is a tough one to call. I feel like Henry was going to make the same mistake others have. He's going to rely on that wrestling. And previously, when people have shot in against Marlon, they've paid the price with a knee straight in their face. So I can see the same thing happening, or even probably a decision victory for Marlon.
Sounds rather painful. All right. So obviously Marlon being a slight favourite there at 1.9, a smidgen. Jason, obviously you broke down, you looked at both fighters, their pros and their cons. What was your conclusion?
Well, I don't understand why Henry Cejudo gets no love from the market and odds makers, because all he does is shock the world, constantly. Marlon Moraes, he's a killer. He destroyed the World Series of Fighting. I think he went 11-0 there in the promotion, but it was against really weak competition. He gets signed by the UFC. He runs through Jimmy Rivera, John Dodson, Aljamain Sterling, Rafael Assunção. They're all solid fighters. I do think it's fair to say that half those fighters are on the back nine of their prime in Assunção and Dodson. Yeah, I've been disappointed with Jimmy Rivera the last couple of years, and I think that Aljamain Sterling hasn't reached his full potential yet. I think what's more impressive about Moraes is the way that he has stopped these people rather than who he has necessarily beat, even though all he can do is fight the person that they put in front of him, and he takes care of them every time. Now, if you take a look at Henry Cejudo, listen, I've never been a big fan of Henry Cejudo. You know, I don't know what it is, but every time I bet a fight that he's in, I usually find myself on the other side of him, and it continues to cost me money. He's coming off beating TJ Dillashaw, who was the champion at his division. He was on illegal steroids at the time, and he was the number 4 pound-for-pound fighter in the world at the time that he fought him. I bet against him. I lost. Then he knocks out probably the best MMA fighter of our generation, not named John Jones maybe, in Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson. I bet against him. He knocks him out in the first round. So I think it's a disgrace that he's an underdog in this fight. When you look at what he's done and what Marlon has done, he's plus 115 right now. When I wrote the article for Oddsmarket, the pick was the fight ends inside the distance at minus 150. Because I think they're going to be throwing bombs at each other for 25 minutes, and there's a really good chance that somebody falls. But right now, that's gone from minus 150 to minus 190. So you have already missed the best of the number by about 45 cents. So if that's the case and you weren't able to get on it early, I'm done fading Henry Cejudo, man. So I would take a look at maybe Henry Cejudo plus 115 or pass the fight if you haven't been able to hop on fight goes inside the distance.
All right, so a little bit of head-to-head here. Now, you said maybe, Dave, that you would put a unit on Marlon, but are you going to wait until you're on the live Sports Keg video tomorrow to make your final decision, or are you ready to pull the trigger now?
No, I was actually the Jays now got the nail on the head, because the odds that I do think Henry, given what's happened, he probably should be the slight favorite. I was hoping the odds were going to go that way, but they seem to have just stuck around the same number for the past couple of weeks. So, I do, even though I do favor Marlon, yeah, I was hoping for them odds. I'm probably not going to get them now.
Yeah.
So I'll probably put a unit on Marlon tomorrow. Maybe I may have done it before the show. I'm not sure. I don't know. I haven't actually betting against Henry Cejudo hasn't played out well for anybody. The last time I won money on fading Henry Cejudo was 2016. So yeah, just be wary when you're placing bets on these main event fights, especially if I'm going head to head with Jay, because I'm pretty sure that he's 2-0 against me when we've gone head to head. So yeah.
Well, listen, talking about dogs and making money, who are the dogs that you are looking at for Saturday, Dave?
I found 3 dogs that I like. There's a debuting fighter went against me last week, even though I kind of jinxed myself by saying, "Oh, don't pick fighters that are debuting." But Eddie Wineland has been, even though he won his last fight, he's facing a debuting guy who's just a great Muay Thai striker. I think that he's either gonna knock him out or win a decision. That's Gregory Popoff. You can get him for plus 110, 2.10 on the decimal. The other underdog I'm liking was Pedro Munoz versus Aljamain Sterling. Pedro's coming in at 2.25. And then there was another one. Blagoy versus Tai Tuivasa. Blagoy, you can get him for about 2.25 as well. Yeah, that's the big boys. That's the heavyweights. It is a bit of a coin flip when you're messing with these type of fights. But I just think Blagoy has the experience over Tai. He has the grit. I feel like his striking has been better over the past couple of fights. He's a Sambo master. Former World Series of Fighting heavyweight champion. I just think the experience is gonna do Tai over in this one. So yeah, that's 3 dogs this week, 2.25 twice, and then a nice 2.10 as well. So nice. Some decent odds right there.
Very nice. Before we wrap up, are there any other matches that or fights, that you're looking at, Jason?
The best fight on the card is not the co-main event or the main event for people like me and Dave. It's Donald Cerrone and Tony Ferguson. Yeah. Tony Ferguson, he's my favorite fighter in the UFC. Cowboy's probably in my personal top 5. The whole world was against us when we took Cowboy against Iaquinta, but I felt the matchup really favored Cowboy, and he destroyed Al. I think Cerrone's looked phenomenal the last year and change. He's fought a ridiculous 5 times since the beginning of 2018. And this is his 3rd time in 2019, which is absolutely absurd. So you have to wonder when he slows down because of how often he fights. Eventually, it's going to take a toll on him. But I think styles make fights. And I think in this matchup, it favors Tony. And for 2 reasons. Number 1, Cowboy can't stand pressure. And Tony Ferguson will command the octagon the entire fight. He will move forward the entire fight. And historically, that's given Donald Cerrone a big problem. And the second thing is Cowboy historically has done really poor against southpaw fighters. Now, Tony's not a traditional southpaw fighter, but he's one of the 3 best probably switch stance fighters in the UFC, I think, and he will be giving Cowboy that southpaw look a lot in this fight. And if it goes to the ground, as good as Cowboy is on the mat, Tony's better at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So I think minus 150 is fair, and I'll be on Tony Ferguson tomorrow night. What do you think, Dave?
Al Kukui all day. I faded. It didn't.
Yeah,
It
buddy.
didn't do me well fading Cowboy last time. But yeah, as you said, Cowboy doesn't deal well with the pressure fighters at all, and Tony is constant pressure. So yeah, I know there's going to be a finish in this fight. It's not going to the judges' scorecards whatsoever. There's not a chance.
Robert Cherry says the only problem is Donald is a slow starter, and if he can't set out or control the pace, RD1, he won't win, and that's my guy.
He won't control the pace against Tony. Tony
Not a
is
chance.
a beast. Yeah.
There we go. There we go. Right, we're going to wrap up, boys. It was great talking to both of you today. Hopefully we'll check in. Is there a fight next week? Are we going to be talking UFC again next week?
Yeah.
Yep.
Right, Dave, or no?
Korean zombie.
Korean zombie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds interesting.
Moicano, Rob Font's fighting Brian Barberena. There's a few guys. Kevin Holland. Yeah, I can't remember any of those, but yeah, there's some decent fights to look at next week.
Sweet.
Good memory there. I go back week by week, and so yeah, good memory there. All right. Dave Betts and Jason Paglia, great to see you. And if I've got some time, I definitely will come on and pop onto your show and support you guys over on YouTube. It's the Sports Keg, isn't it? Sports Keg on YouTube.
Sports Keg YouTube
is
channel.
the channel, yeah. And so it's and then also at Dave Betts as well, Twitter handles. So give these guys a follow. Thank you very much for your tips and predictions and information. And I'll see you next week.